Whoa, look at that background clipping go. I really do enjoy the when the virtual camera doesn't work quite the way that you want it to. Yeah, it's probably a little bit better, but that'll like make the airflow through the room really probably a bit unpleasant, but oh, we'll see how this goes. I didn't think it was going to be a warm day today. The rain forecast was not looking particularly favorable, but just in like the last half an hour or so, it's got quite warm. To the point where I'm like, maybe I do need to turn the air conditioner on. I'm watching the thermometer that sits next to my desk creep higher and higher as the output of my desktop fan blasts it with air. How's everyone doing this afternoon? I thought, well, I started just building something that had been on my mind for a while, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just open up Twitch and build it on there, see if anyone's around, have a hangout, have a chat, something a little bit different. Let's maybe turn off my notifications while I think of it before someone like Jack sends me a Teams message and that's going to pop up on stream to be clipped forevermore. It wouldn't be the first time that's happened. But yeah, I decided building a little React component. So playing around with static web apps, which is a platform that I've done a few times on stream now, and I wanted to make it easier if you're building a React application to work with static web apps. If you're doing an authenticated one, so have it like, because it's not overly challenging. Like you've just got to provide some routes to a couple of specific locations. But I thought, well, if I just had a component where I could be like, I could just go put auth here, like that's a whole lot simpler. So that's kind of the idea of what we're gonna, what I'm just toying around with today. Kill some time before the end of the day, and as we wind down the year that is 2020. So I actually got started on this about half an hour ago. As you'll see that there is actually some code on the screen before I went, let's broadcast to Twitch and see if anyone is around. So it's so this repo is going to have two main folders. It's got an examples repo, so that obviously we can test the thing and see that it works. And then the other is the component itself, which is in the React Static Web Apps auth. Written in TypeScript, which will compile down to JavaScript and all that sort of fun stuff. I'm also doing this in code spaces just because I thought, why not? I created the GitHub repo and then just went, let's open up in code spaces. So that's where we're kind of at, and we'll kick off from here. So what I've set up so far is the basic scaffolding of the project. So I've got the package file set up for this project, just my standard set of build scripts, build, watch, and linting. Dependencies of the common dependencies that are needing here: React, ESLint, and TypeScript are pretty much the only things so far. Probably only dependencies I think that we'll need. And then React is a specific dependency down here. And then the example application is just create React app, just npx create React app with the TypeScript template, so that we can use it together. I'm kind of following a similar pattern that I did with the React Foldable project, which is a React component for doing web applications for foldable devices like Surface Duos and the Samsung one and stuff like that. So just have it all in the same folder, but side by side, so that the dependencies that I want here aren't getting trashed by what Create React App requires, because Create React App actually uses a couple of sort of archaic dependencies, or not archaic, but older dependencies that I want to take, particularly when it comes to ESLint. ESLint. So that was going to be a pain in the past. But yeah, it's set up. I've also got Husky for pre-commit hooks. So when you commit, it's going to make sure that, well, it does actually compile and that the lint passes, just to kind of enforce some of the sort of coding standards that I tend to have on projects. But without further ado, let's dive into building this. So I've created an auth providers component. So this will be the kind of thing that you put on page that will then render out the provider options that you've got. So we've got the providers, and I just thought I'd check. So Azure AD, Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, and Google, I think, are the ones that are supported. Yep. There's a caveat on Google. What's the caveat? Pending external certification. Okay, so that's possibly just needing updating. I haven't tested Google. I've only done Twitter and GitHub. So I mean, I assume they all work, but we'll see. And I then have this auth provider child component, which is it's basically just going to render out an anchor tag. I want to keep the markup that it generates for you pretty simplistic, because I don't like things that go and generate large chunks of markup on your behalf, because then it can be very difficult to style it the way that you want to style it. So it's really just going to render out a series of anchor tags that you can then go ahead and style yourself. So what I do need, though, is a way that you can target them directly. And for that, I'm going to add a class name. Actually, do we add a specific class name? No, we'll generate the class name from the provider itself, which is, so things like, like Azure AD, we'll turn that into a class name. Do that. A class name can be name.to lowercase dot replace spaces with hyphens. Yeah, that'll do. And then class name can be class name, and then we'll also put Azure auth on there. So just so that we know it'll be an anchor tag with that class, but we'll also put another class tag on there, a class name on there that we can easily attach to, kind of if you just want to do something specific, like really specific. You don't have to worry about it potentially having a conflict with other things there. So now, just need to duplicate this for all of the providers that I've got. That should be all of them, I think. This can be Facebook, and then the auth provider will be Facebook. Then we will Twitter, so on and so forth. GitHub with a capital H. You always got to remember the capital H. If anyone caught the keynote from GitHub Universe the other week, you would have seen that you got to make sure it's a capital H. Otherwise, you will get pull requests rejected by the head of the company. Google. Okay. So when you use this component, it's going to default the properties of it'll default to having them all enabled. So you'll have all of the different providers enabled by default, and then you can just set like active Azure AD to false. Actually, let's change that to just Azure AD, shorten it up a little, and then that would be Azure AD. Cool. Yeah, so that way they're all on by default, and then you just opt out of the ones that you don't want available there. This is just getting pushed into an array, which then we render out inside of a React fragment, which theoretically should mean that we'll just end up with a series of anchor tags that appear on screen. So let's go and test that out. I can't remember with React Foldable whether I just like ... path through from the example or not. Let's have a look. Source. Oh no, I did access it through that, and then I think inside of the package JSON. Yep. So that's so if you don't know this trick, you can, so when you create a dependency inside of a package JSON file, like normally you might put a version number in there, and that's on the so that's then to your package management provider, so like npm registry, like that's where it'll find and it'll pull down that specific version. but you can also do it to file paths. So we could say the files are in that location. So when you resolve a component with, when you try and import something that has that dependency name, it will then actually go to this file path and find that. This can be useful for doing like local dev across components like I'm doing here. And I've used it on other projects where I needed to be able to access like a side-by-side folder, and I didn't want to have to do like symlinks and stuff like that, because I just find symlinks can get problematic. But the only downside is you still have to do an npm install. So we'll do aaron-pal /react static web apps auth, and then that will be file : / to react static web apps auth. And what it means is that you're actually testing your component then in the same way that someone else would be consuming it from a registry. Like, apart from the fact that your package.json is referring to like the path where the package.json for your dependency is, afterwards it's just treated like any other dependency. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to go into the example folder and do an npm install. And what we'll see in the node modules folder is that we'll end up with, I think it actually does a symlink anyway behind the scenes. So there we go. We've got the aaron-pal is there, and we'll see that, yeah, that's a symbolic link. Might be not particularly clear on stream. Windows plus. See if we can do zoom. Don't know if this actually works on streaming. And then the magnifier glass is in the wrong location. Yeah. Anyway, that's how we can do the symbolic link. So like it is still a symlink behind the scenes, but it means that I haven't had to manage symlinks or anything like that. Hey, Mitch, welcome to the stream this afternoon. It's not, I mean, I suppose it's morning somewhere. It's always morning for you though, isn't it? Oh wait, did you change your name? When we were on Phil's stream the other day, didn't you have another Twitch handle? Yeah. It's always morning for someone somewhere. Oh wait, so I don't get the fancy account. I get the just like the generic name account. Ouch. So if you're on your phone, it's got your other account on there. I do have two accounts as well, but my other account is actually just so I can test. When I'm fiddling around with OBS, I can then test the way things are set up without just streaming to my main account. Yeah, so I have it set up that way. I did actually do a bunch of changes to my OBS setup earlier today. I think I'm running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 audio devices are running through OBS at the moment. Do I need an OBS script to trigger webhooks? No, I don't. I definitely don't need it to do that. I'm contemplating setting up my Stream Deck with like a one-click button that does like a massive reconfiguration of Voicemeeter and OBS, so that like sets everything up to a bunch of specific levels and whatnot. But in the new year, I have challenged myself that I will actually get round to dealing with the nerd snipe that I did of actually doing some videos and stuff like that about how as a tech presenter presenting at technical events, not just like streaming on Twitch and stuff like that, you can use tools like OBS and Voicemeeter and stuff like that to kind of make a presentation that is a bit more, I don't want to say polished, but a bit fancier than your standard sort of webinar. Because yeah, it's something that I found really challenging to get started with, was the complexity of OBS and all that ilk. Okay, well, that should be up and running. Fancier than a webcam and a slide deck, pretty much. Something more fancy than standard picture-in-picture, so that we can have cool things like soundboards going and things like that. I've got my soundboard, and I think that was actually louder than the music. I can't hear my soundboard, so I don't know what it is. And also, the sound of the music that's playing through the speakers at my end is different to the volume of the music going out over stream because, again, what do you do when you've got too much time in your hands? You spend it reconfiguring things that don't really need to be reconfigured. Okay, so let's npm start. That's not going to work. I mean, it will. Well, actually, no, it will work because I haven't. So I just start up the web server. Yeah, let's say that the soundboard should have come through a little bit louder just because of the volume balance I've got. So the music I've got down kind of low. I think I had that's at negative 30 decibels. That's at negative 20, so that might be a little bit louder. But the intent is that it should be just kind of soft in the background. So if I stop talking, it's not just weird dead silence. But again, I can't hear the stream, so I don't know. Let's create a new terminal and we'll come into the React static web apps and we'll run watch. Okay, so that will compile that. This will be the all app. Yep. Lovely spinny, and then underneath the learn React, we are going to put our auth component, auth providers. And then that will require me, no. I wonder if it didn't detect import auth providers. I know why that's happened from Aaron Powell. Okay. It did not generate anything, which is correct because I just realized that the index I haven't actually implemented. Index.ts. So this will be import auth providers, auth provider options, providers, props from /auth providers. We'll export auth providers and is it not called that, or did I not export that? Auth provider, yes, that should be auth provider. Props. Ooh, awesome. We have a spammer in the mix. Let's get them to, let's auto mod them out. Block. There we go. Done. Mute the domain. Yeah, I should. I will do that later. I'm curious that didn't come up with. Ban. Ooh. You know what? It's actually the first time I've had to do own moderation, but all good. I assume that kind of removes it, but we'll see. Okay, so auth providers is there. Auth provider props didn't work because I haven't auth provider props. Auth provide. Yeah, no, it should be auth providers props. Auth providers, because then it matches the name of the component, so that should flow through. We'll save. Done. Compile. That should be there, which should be there, which comes from here. What doesn't it like about that? Term 1 does not contain a default export. I think it's mostly because that doesn't. No, it's because it doesn't contain the default export. Yes, good point. Good catch there. Oh, do I actually have to? So Azure AD equals true. Facebook equals true. No, because they should be true. Google will be true. And lastly, Twitter will be true. Yep. No, I know why that didn't work. It's because
I found a few locations.
Whoa.
The first one is True.
Thanks. Hey Google, stop.
Only at 108 Old Pittwater Road, Brookvale. The second one is True Sydney at 204. The mic's off.
Yeah. Because as I said, Google. Yeah, that was fun. Thanks, Google Home. No, these should actually all be optional so that you don't have to provide them. And there we go. Now, if I save that, we delete those. There we go. Okay, so now that's all working. We should reload this content here in the browser. Wait for my code space to pick up again and see how it's tracking. Where's my drum? I do have a drum. Yay, it didn't work. Oh no, because the props are provided. That's actually interesting because the props are, what's the error message I received? Okay, that's a fine error message for you to have there. Components. Let's have a look at auth providers. It didn't receive any props. But I thought I was defaulting that. Source, yep. Auth providers. Well, my source map didn't work. That's disappointing. Source, auth providers. Huh. I don't know why my source map didn't work. I should look into that one later. Okay. Let's breakpoint. Come on, breakpoints. Blurg. No. Why is it not letting me set a breakpoint? And why am I down leveling that to a var? Ooh, I need to change what my compilation target is going to be. Let's do this the dodgy way. Debugger. You want to make sure you hit a debugging breakpoint? You chuck a debugger keyword on there. That is, no, see it automatically receives a value, doesn't it? Okay, so how do we do default React component default prop value? Setting default values on React props. Do I have to use? Do I use the default props? Oh. Yeah. Okay, well, that's easy enough fixed. So we'll get rid of that there. And we'll do auth providers.default props equals default props. Default props does not exist on I reckon that's going to be because TypeScript is thinking this is a JSX element when when I want it to be React functional component. So it would be react.fc, and then it gets a little bit annoyed at that. But I've read elsewhere that we don't want, like you don't want to use React FC. So React component default props TypeScript. Let's see if there's a better way with TypeScript. Typing default props. Yep. And that, yeah. It's just adding it to a class. Oh no. Yeah, that should be the way to do it. And type of default props, yeah. So let's see. Interesting. That how to use default props in React with TypeScript. These are all for class components though. I don't want to use a class component. Function component. We'll end up on plural side. Okay, so like defining them is not the problem. It's the static typing of the functional component. It says React FC. The React community generally founds upon React FC. Okay, so wait, defining props, yeah. So they just decompose it and then assign default values on all of it through that. I'd argue that that's actually a lot more of like an overhead. Had a middle name, not everyone has a middle name. Yeah. Yeah, React FC is fine. React.fc auth provider props, which means we don't need to type that. Props are, the props there are props with children, dot. And yeah, what? Missing props from validation. Boolean or undefined. Yeah, and then even still, auth provider. So we're assigning auth provider a well, jeez, there we go. Actually, if we do that, yeah, it still doesn't like it, does it? Colon auth providers props. Well, that was a bunch of hassle for my own foolishness. You gotta pay. Naming components very similar to each other is a nuisance. There we go. Okay, so there we are. Now, if we are to reload this one, oh wait, did I get rid of the debugger keyword? I did get rid of that. Look at that. There we go. And they're all horrendously unstyled, which is pretty much what we're expecting. Now, let's go back to the static web app docs and check the restrict access. So to restrict access, we basically redirect someone to log in. You redirect them to /auth login and then the provider name in lowercase. So Azure Active Directory is AAD. Okay, so we will need to let's add onto this component. We're going to add an ID property, ID, which will also be a string. should be ID of string, not colon. There we go. And instead of name, that will be ID. Sign in using that, and then no, we want that there. And then maybe we will, instead of generating a class name, we'll just use ID. Okay. So then back here, the ID is AAD. ID will be Facebook. ID equals Twitter. ID will be GitHub. ID will be GitHub. And last but not least will be ID of Google. Now I don't wonder if there's value in pulling those out all into individual components, but maybe not. Now if I make that, yeah, because it's got a default value, so I shouldn't need to make them nullable. There we go. We'll clean up a bunch of the work that I had there before. Sweet. Okay, and ta-da, we have them all there. Class name is not defined. That's fine, because I'm pretty sure I removed it from here, didn't I? I did. So that's just an old message sitting here in the console. Reload. Yes, I should have a key property on them. That's a good idea. There we go. And the key can be AAD. I wonder if I just use key. Nah, we'll have it explicit. Facebook. Key is Twitter. Key of GitHub, and lastly we will key on Google. All right, done. So now theoretically when we sign in, we can hit those and they will actually sign in and do something, theoretically at least. If we hit that, yeah, cool, it bounces back because, well, that route doesn't actually go anywhere. That was taking us to the right location. Yep. Boom. Let's do a commit. Term create status. Actually, no, I don't want the build folder. Let's delete that. Git unstage start. No, that's because that alias I don't actually have on this one. Delete that. Git add. There we go. Status. Cool. And we will put the build folder in as the git ignore. So we can hit save on that. That should then rebuild. Are you going to rebuild? Nope. Let's start you up again. Make sure that we are actually ignoring that thing properly. Yep, there we go. Cool. Hit status. Displaying the auth providers. Cool. Done. And we'll see that it did run a compile. So this is Husky that's run here in the bottom of the terminal. Ran the pre-commit hook, which did a compile and also did the ESLint check. So the ESLint stuff is actually only running isn't running on my the application. The example application only runs on the core. So yeah. Kind of ignore some of the errors that pop up every now and then because that's just the editor getting a little bit out of sync when I delete files. Right. So the next thing that we probably want to do is have a component that will display the user information. So when you sign in, we allow you to get access to some basic user information, which is a JSON payload that tells you the provider they logged in with, a user ID for them, some user details, which that user details depends on the provider. So I think with Facebook it must be an email address, but it will be other things depending on who it is, which provider. So GitHub will be username, Twitter will be username, but everywhere else it's email address. You see here, and then which roles that user has been assigned. So to get that, you run a little function like this, which will hit an endpoint /.auth/me, which will return the JSON, unpack that. But it's the kind of thing that would be useful in like a React context or something like that. So once you're signed in, so let's create React context. So we'll go to a new file and we'll call it user info context.tsx. Yep, so we're going to need TSX file here. We'll import React from React, and we're going to start off by export type user info, which will be actually the easiest way to do this is we come here, we find that JSON payload, copy, paste it there, and then that will be a string. That will be a string, that will be a string, and then this last one will be a string array. Ta-da, there is our user info, and then we're going to do const user info context is react.create context user info, and then it will all be defaulted to identity provider being it will be nothing. Actually, we could turn that into this is going to be not set. Then we can do like a union type. So this will be AAD, Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, and Google. So those are going to be the valid providers that you can have, and then by default it will be not set. I mean, that might not be the best one there. And then user ID will be actually no, that's going to be an or undefined. So the user ID is not defined. So not defined or an empty string going to be more preferable. User detail, I think we'll go undefined because the user details are, they're going to be an undefined there, and then they will have by default so everyone that's authenticated will have a role of unauthenticated, like that's the default that they will get. Find, actually, no, instead of that, we'll do undefined. Can I do that? Yes, so that will be, so initially it is undefined. They will have user details. Hey Dota, welcome to the stream today. We are building a React component for authentication, and I am just filling up things with undefined because nothing says I want to make my life painful down the track by dealing with a whole bunch of undefineds in React. At some point, I will regret this decision, but now is not that time. We will progress on and deal with it later. Okay, so we'll export. Actually, no, we're not going to export the context directly. We are going to create a context provider, user info context provider, because you don't need to create the context yourself because we want to wrap up some of the basic logic here. And that will be a component that doesn't take anything. And then inside of here, we will do const user info, which is going to be some state, and that will be set user info, and that will be use state of user info. So by default, it's going to be that, and then let's pull this one out as const default user info will be that. So when we initialize our context, we'll have the default user info. When we initialize state, it'll have default user info. And then we will return a user info context provider with the value being the user info. And we are going to need some children here, which is going to be like that. And then that will come and we'll then do children. Save. Children is, so this is going to be JSX dot. No, children is like JSX dot element, I think. Like that's kind of fine, yeah. And I think we're going to want to oh, shame to hear you didn't get your job. Yeah, it's nothing worse than when you've invested a whole lot of time and effort into preparing for something, researching, and yeah, it's just not paying off. That's yeah, definitely disappointed. Sorry to hear that. But I was actually talking to a friend of mine earlier today. He's just gone through an interview process at a company, and he's like, "Oh, not sure if I'll be successful on it." But at the end, he's looking at it pragmatically. At the end of the day, he's got some good experience out of having doing that. So I think that's kind of the only silver lining you can get out of it. Yeah. Whoa, 1,000 lines. That's a decent amount of investment. To have gone for, but all the best for the next one, I guess. Run. So I'm just going to create a little function inside of. What was the job for that you were going? Or what was the job you were going for? There we go. I can English today. That's a bit better speaky me jiggers. DevOps stuff. But is DevOps a role, or is it a service that you can buy? Oh, so a cross-country move was on the cards for the role, or were you just looking to do a remote job? Because honestly, I wouldn't be super keen on going to the US anytime soon. It does not look great there at the moment. Yeah, it could be a bullet dodged, not having to deal with the US. Well, not having to go to the US at the very least. But that's no consolation really. Okay, so we'll use an effect hook that is going to be run when so I'm going to run this effect hook once. So with React, if you're using the effect hook, and you need to provide it with the dependencies that will cause this effect to run. If you provide it, so that's the array of the second the second argument to use effect is the dependencies that will trigger the effect to run. If you provide it with an empty array, so there's no dependencies, it will run when the component is first created and never run again. So something like this, where we're going to be fetching out the user info, yeah, we kind of only want that to run once. So it fits nicely there as the way that hook will work. And then we'll get the JSON back, which will be wait res.json. And Annoyingly, React hooks, the async function requires, make sure you have promise declaration. Oh, I might be missing a dependency. That seemed like, really? How am I missing promises in my output? Like, the target is ES5. I should probably bump that up. What? Let's go target of ES, like high level ES there. So yeah, okay, that's better. That's fixed it up. Because effect hooks can't run an asynchronous, you can't provide an asynchronous function to them. It will give you an error. It has to return it has to return either undefined, so like it's got no return statement, or it returns a deconstruction function. So like, or a dispose function. So that's kind of why I guess like you can't return a promise, because then they'd have to unpack the promise to get the destruction function, which is a little annoying. It means that if you want to do something asynchronous and you don't like, or you want to do something with promises, you don't want to do then, you then just have to write like a little function that I just always call it run, and then that's the async function, and you just immediately execute that. And we don't wait for the async function to be complete. It's viable, but a little bit annoying. Set user info will now be that JSON. Something I've noticed with, I should be able to type this as user info. Yeah, there we go. So I can't type. Yeah, I didn't think I could type res JSON, which is annoying. Like, it returns a promise of any. I wonder if actually, no, do I do it on the fetch? No. Yeah, because the fetch returns the response, and the response is of there, but there's no way to type what the response is going to return, because always return promise response. Yeah, maybe there's opportunity to improve the way fetch, like strongly typed fetch, rather than having to go like user info and just cast an any up, because by default it'll be an any, and now I can upcast it, and yeah, I mean, it works. Export user info context provider, and we will also create a use context hook, so that you can get that out. So we'll do const use user info, which will be a thing which returns use context, and the context will be user info context. Correct, there we go, and we'll expose use user info. Ta-da! So then that should provide that out. We should have that value there. We should be able to do stuff with the side of it. Excellent. Okay, so let's add those to our export. Import. No, we'll do import from / user info context, and that. There we go. The power of IntelliSense. User info. I mean, I can probably just actually do export directly, can't I? I think I can go export. Yeah. Oh, no, I can't, because it doesn't like exporting. Yeah, let's do that. Export. No, I can't do it from there, because, yeah, Control Y, let's go here. That can go inside of here, and then we will come through and put that as a export. Yeah, we'll just named export auth provider. There we go. No, auth providers. Providers. We go. Okay, so now we've exported everything correctly. Back up here in app. It will eventually wake up. Term. Let's have a look. Term 2. Yep. 1. 10 p.m. Let's just reinstall it. Sometimes it gets confused if you delete the source of where you came from, which is what I did. Okay, npm start. There we go. The auth providers is detected again. Don't need that one running. And now we could also import our context. Context. User info provider context. And now around the auth providers, we could go use, actually no. Yeah, no, we won't put it there. We'll go here, we'll go user info context provider. And then we're going to create we'll do a render child. Wait, no, I need to, is this how we do, does that work? Is that supporting render props? No. I don't know how to do render props at the minute. Instead, we'll just create another component. We'll be lazy and we'll put it in here. Const user user display will be a component that will be then here, user display. And then just to test out our context, user info will be user info. And then if user info dot identity provider. So we do have an identity provider, then we will return a div with, we'll return, let's see, the p tag, and that will have the user info dot provider. This is going to be, wonder how you do kind of cascading, like, because if there is an identity provider, we will have provider, no, we'll have identity provider, then we'll have user info, user details, have user info dot, user ID, and then last we'll have user info dot user roles. There we go. Else, we don't need else. We'll return a return p user not signed in. Okay. Now this may very well get upset at me and stop working, because we actually can't do the authentication stuff because we don't have our auth endpoints available, but we'll see what happens. Yep. Inside of a function component. Ooh, it's an invalid hook call. I think that's actually more of a cascaded problem from somewhere else. The above error happened in the user info context provider. Yeah, okay, so the user info context provider, it didn't like that. Hooks can only be called inside of a function component. This could, you're mismatching version of React. Right here. Huh. Oh, It's going to be that. Pretty sure that's the problem of multiple versions of React being loaded. This is the problem with Create React App. I really shouldn't have used Create React App this time. Every time I swear I'm like, I'm not going to use it. It just gives me pain. I had to deal with some oddities in my React foldable project. So let's have a look how this works. So inside of example, because basically what's happened is it's resolved the React, my components React stuff has been resolved. So, and that's been brought in. Actually, if we can have a look into the, probably not into the bundle, the source maps aren't working. Yeah, basically, like if we were to look through this, we'll actually find React as a dependency multiple times, or whichever bundle it's in. It's going to be in one of them. Yeah, React. That's obviously going to be fairly hard to search because it's the way it's set up. But yeah, basically what's happened is the React and the Node modules inside of my static web apps auth custom component has been detected, and that's included when I've done the dependency of my component. But then also I have inside of the Node modules for my my example project, it also has React. So we actually have to delete one of them, and I can't remember precisely how I do this. I think I do it. I'll have to be doing it in here, I'm sure. Yeah. So we do npm install build in the React foldable, and then we do install and build with inside of the web app. Oh no, maybe I don't do it that way. This will be interesting. Maybe we'll try and deploy and just see if that works. And I'm pretty sure that, yeah, when the build happens and I set up not that build pipeline, I think it's the release pipeline, I had to do something funky with it. No, it's like order of installs and like weird things like that you got to deal with, and it's not particularly easy. So yeah, you got to install React foldable, then you've got to install in the web app. Yeah. Let's just try and deploy and see what happens. Yeah, we'll connect it up with Azure. Let's go to Azure portal, sign in and see if this works. We'll create a new static web app. We shall call this one a new resource group, React static web apps auth. There, West US, that's fine. Doesn't really matter because we don't actually have a functions backend. Yep, authorize static web apps. Can't use the security key because I am signed in. Okay, there we go. I've got my camera, because my camera's running, I can't use the security key. Blah, 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 blah. Here, repository. It's that one. Run off the main branch. We will use will be a React application, but the application is going to be examples. Oh, no, that's right. We treat it as Yeah. So the application example slash build, and then the artifact location, example slash build, and then there is no artifact location. Oh, interesting. I can't preview the workflow file unless I have that. Yeah, it's like I don't want that because I'm not providing like the build location. The artifact location is going to be the same as there. Interesting. Now, does that mean I can't create the workflow file unless I set that in? So intrinsically, my build is going to fail. No. Well, there's a bit of feedback that I can provide to the team. You can only preview the workflow file if you actually provide a value in all three of those fields. But you don't need to provide a value in all three of those fields because the last one, the application, is going to be relative to the app build. So the app output location. So like where the compilation would happen for like from npm or like a I just noticed that we've had a build like deployment failure in Azure. I have reached the maximum number of static sites I can have. Wow. First off, I didn't know I had a limit. And secondly, that's annoying. I'm gonna have to go through and figure out which one I can delete. So I will be back in. If I press the right button on my Stream Deck. Here we go. Okay. Yes, we will be back in a moment as you know, I will bring the screen back up, but I need to go through and delete a resource. Now to figure out which resource to delete, that's going to be the challenging one. But because I've got some maybe work sensitive stuff on there, let's leave that hidden. Here we go. That one. There we go. There's a couple I can delete. Demos from conferences that I haven't got around to cleaning up yet. So one. And then where's the other one? This one I think I can delete as well. There we go. Now the question is going to be, can I just kick off the redeploy without too much hassle? I just wanted to... I wonder how early the deployment failed though. Term 3 git status. There's an ESLint cache. Interesting, I didn't know that. That can go into my git ignore. .ESLint cache. You are right there, Mitch. It is really humid. I went for a run this morning and it was just unpleasant. Like the humidity was so bad. And yeah, like so that the chair behind me doesn't, well, it's flickering a bit at the moment, but it was a whole lot worse when I had the door of my office open. So I closed the office door, but now the humidity is really kicking in my room. Ventilation is not quite what I need it to be. Let's go. Let's just quickly. Okay, hang on a sec. Let me check. I think I've deleted enough resources in Azure. There we go. I should be able to start this back again. So let's go back to our code. Okay, so that's failed. Let's add the, oh wait, no. Git status. No, I said don't include .ESLint cache. rm example.ESLint cache. Git add. No. Oh, it was previously there. Git. All right. Yeah. Well, that's going to be interesting. Commit. Displaying user info. Okay, and then let's push that up. Okay, cool. So that's pushed. So that means it didn't attempt to build the workflow file. So now I can redeploy. I agree to whatever term. Oh. Create new. No. There we go. Oh man, it's really. I should have just started it again from scratch. Do that. There we go. Repository token. Oh. Okay, well, let's ditch this deployment, and we're going to create a new static web app. Because I don't have a repository token for GitHub. I'm not really wanting to generate one. So the repository token is needed for because static web apps writes to your Git repo to generate the workflow file. It also generates a private a GitHub action secret for making it so you can do the deployment. So it kind of like shoves a bunch of stuff around. So it needs access to GitHub to do that. So yeah, I didn't realize that deployment may fail. So let's try example /build, and then if we leave that blank, like I can leave that blank, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Create. And we'll fire off the create button. We'll see if the deployment works. Because the resource manager template, when it popped up, like during that redeploy, was giving me a validation warning that I hadn't provided a value for the build output location, but the UI didn't block me from doing that, which means that one of the places is doing validation that the other that shouldn't be done. It looks like you don't need it, which means that we might have an error in like a bug in the resource manager template definition. So I will need to dig into that. Cool, not using OS X. Oh, I haven't actually seen the new, this is the new workflow view. Oh, cool. Full screen. No. Doesn't, well, those buttons don't do anything. That's disappointing. I mean, admittedly, there's not a whole lot of stuff that's actually happening in here. I need to now edit that workflow file because it's not going to work. So build's going to fail. Git pull. And let's punch over to our YAML file. And we will steal the YAML file from here. Where is it? Here we go. I think it's that, up to that step. No. Okay, so that should be, and let's go node 14. That's what we're running. Example /build. Yeah. Git status. Git. Updating workflow file for real run structure. And we will push that. Fun, I managed to trigger off Google Assistant on my phone. So I've been doing really good with triggering Google Assistant today. Triggered it on the Google Home earlier, and then Yeah. For Rail run structure. What on earth did I type? Updating workflow file for Rail run structure. Yeah. Look, it's probably going to fail anyway. You've got to always commit like 10 times to get your first passing build. Isn't that right? DevOps. Yeah. Let's come on, workflow. So we'll take a little bit longer now that we're setting up we're basically replacing what the custom action step would. Oh, because I went to the wrong folder. I know why that happened, because I copy and pasted and didn't bother checking. In B, where is it? That's what we wanted. I knew it was going to fail. Move to the right folder. And now I'm like, oh man, Husky's getting in the way. I don't want to have to run my commit hooks. Just skip over them. All right. Let's see if we've got this running. Move to the right folder. Check out job. Who wants to hasten a guess on how many build failures we can have? I'm hoping it's going to be 3, because this is the 3rd one. Well, no, I hope it's 2 failures, because I don't want to try and debug why this isn't working. It should be working, damn it. While it might be humid, at least it's not raining again. I've got washing out on the line. I really don't want it to start raining. There we go. Okay. We've built the module. We're now building the web app. And we'll see if it works. Otherwise, I think it might be a dodgy hack with I don't think I did anything to this one to tell it where to find React. Got to put the types definition in there. No, it's just use the same version of React. It's deploying something. Okay, so that's fine. So basically what it's, so the build engine, it's gone, well, okay, so there's the location, which is example/build, which is where it should have been. So that's the output of building the web application will be to like, the /build folder. Then it will attempt to detect the language of what it's deploying. So it knows whether you're deploying like a .NET app or a Node app. But that's actually so that it can run its compile steps. So it's got a bunch like predefined workflows on what it's going to try and run as a build process. So like an NPM build or .NET build. But because it didn't find a package.json or a csproj or an fsproj file, it goes, well, I don't know what project type this is, so I can't do a build on your behalf, which is fine because we'd actually pre-built that. Now let's open up that in a new tab and see what it looks like. It looks like a big white screen because we have errors. Yay. Minified error 312. Oh, wow, that's my favorite error message. Okay, click on that. Yep. Damn, I was hoping the build pipeline took care of whatever the... So there's something that I'm missing that I set up with React Foldable. Okay, let's have a look at the scripts here. Doesn't do anything particular. So when we have a look at React Foldable as a thing, like it too isn't doing anything particular. You might have a mismatched version of React and the renderer. You might be breaking the rules, or you might have more than one copy of React in the same app. Okay, well, I was pretty sure it was going to be the same version of React in the two places. Let's do that double check now. So here we are using React 1701, sorry. And here we are using React 1701. Okay, so let's have a look at the node modules. Scroll. Forever scrolling. React. Fascinating. It doesn't have where's React as a dependency here? E, F, A's, B's. I am not seeing a React in there. City example, node modules, ls, rep React. Oh, ls pipe rep React. Okay. CD React. It's because I'm in F's, not R's, Aaron. Wow, my brain is just not firing today. Cat package JSON. So this is version 1701. Yeah, okay. Then if we were to go down to @Aaron Powell, okay. Then this one. Where is my top stuff? Dash LA pipe rep. Okay, so yeah, CD @Aaron node React cat package. They are the same version. I'm definitely missing something. Let's go to WSL dollars. Let's have a look at what I've got configured on disk for doing the development of React. Foldable. There we go. Oops, stop React Foldable. So example, node modules has Aaron Powell, which just goes to that symlink. Just, oops, that, node modules, React. So I don't actually have React in here. Is that what's supposed to be happening? Is my build pipeline not working for my other one? Let me go back here. React Foldables build pipeline. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at no, that's the packaging. Static web apps. Let's build and deploy. It was deployed to here. Or is it, oh, do I have peer dependencies set up instead? Maybe that's what I did, was peer dependencies somewhere. React foldable. React is a peer dependency, not, that's what I need to change. Oh, dependency management. It's fun, isn't it? So for my package JSON in here, let's come into, here we go, npm rm react, npm install -h. How do I push something? How do I install something as a peer dependency? Save prod, save dev, save exact, save optional. Or do we just chuck it as a peer dependency? I mean, it's the simplest option. Dependencies, so there's no direct dependencies. We'll do peer dependencies, get rid of that. Leave that there, and this will be 1701, and then it doesn't actually need, no, it will, yes, it will need 1701 as peer dependencies. RF on the node modules, ls, npm install, let's go tab 2, 1, cool. Oops. Term 3, okay. Term 2, let's just trigger off a rebuild here. That should do that. Rebuilt, collapse, example, node modules, Aaron Powell. Node modules, and then we should only find a single React in here. If I QR, yep, excellent. Now, the code all works because React is a peer dependency, and it's actually just relying on the TypeScript definitions. That's what I actually care about in this code base, because the package itself doesn't run. Like, you don't run the package, you run a site that uses the package. So it's just saying that to use this package, you will need React installed. Now I should be able to go back to here, get status, add, and we'll say moving React to peer dependency. So now we should be able to push, build, deploy, and fingers crossed it works after 3 failed builds. Let's see. Where is it? There it is. No. Yes. Move right folder. Actions. Moving to peer dependencies. This is where we got the background music, and this is what the background music is for. You know, when we're watching build pipelines run, they're exciting, aren't they? Oh. So when are you heading off on leave, Mitch? Or are you working throughout the traditional shutdown period at the end of the year? I'm working till Wednesday next week. I use Monday, Tuesday, get the last few bits of things done. Take Wednesday, Thursday off. And then the following week, just to get a bit of a break. So let me guess, you wanted to work through shutdown, but you're having to work on shutdown. Yeah, it's not too bad. That's what. So if you're off from Friday till the 4th, that's going to be what, 7 days? 8? Yeah, that's 7 days of annual leave for for 2 full weeks. 8 days. Yeah, no, it's 4 and 3 because there's 4 days of leave. There's 4 working days next week and 3 days the week after. I think it is. No, it'll be 4 and 4. Yeah. Yeah. 8 days, but you get 2 full weeks off. Yeah. Could be worse. Come on, Build Pipeline. Where do we get up to? Let's play our app. Doing anything for the break, or are you just hanging out at home? Build, deploy, run. Bah. You're going to write that blog post on what you were talking about before, yeah? On how to do webhooks from... damn it. It's still loading 2 versions of React. Well, that's annoying. Mismatching versions of React and the renderer. No, they're the same. We're breaking the rules of hooks. Might have more than one copy of React in the same app. Let's see if the tips are going to give me any idea on how to debug. Here we go. Let's do npm ls react. Okay, cd to example, npm ls react. No, it did find it. No. Oh, you're doing CAD designs of yeah. I think you mentioned that on Twitter the other week that you're doing a CAD design using CAD to draw up a house. What are the going rates that you charge for doing that? Because I haven't got the skills to work out how to do CAD myself. Or just housing on. Oh no, yeah, for your light. That's right. Sorry, not for a full house. Yeah. I remember you're on air light. That's what you were building, isn't it? Yes. Are you going to 3D print it afterwards, or are you going to get it custom built? Let's have a look at your light. We'll pop it up on stream for everyone. Ooh, fancy. Is that yeah? So that you're running the webhook from within inside of OBS, so that as soon as you go hit streaming mode in OBS, it will start up. It'll trigger the light to be on, so that people know that you're streaming, huh? Let's have a look at where does React. Okay. So something is definitely a little bit wacky at the moment. So I'm getting a very different output. So npm ls react will tell me where React has been resolved via. Now, let's go rf on the node modules here, and we'll do an npm install on that too, because maybe that it's getting some weirdness around there. But so npm ls should return me that there is only a single version of React discovered, which is what I get if I do that on my React Foldable project, which is what I'm kind of using as the template for the way I've structured this repository. But like I said, I really should just stop using create React app, because I find it's a good way to scaffold something up, but it very quickly becomes painful to work with. Particularly if you're trying to work on, this is almost a mono, it's a mono repo in structure because I got multiple projects in it. But yeah, npm ls react. Let's see what that's got now. I mean, yeah, okay. So let's go to term 2. Let's kill that. Let's go term 1. Let's kill that. Kill that. So rf on node modules, term 2, and we'll rf on node modules as well. And then this will do an npm I. So we'll install the dependencies inside of here. Term 1. And we'll do an npm I, which will install the dependencies in here. This one will take forever because it's create React app, setting everything up. Okay, npm ls react. Now it shouldn't find the extra one with inside of, no, it does find the extra one in there. Why? It's listed as a peer dependency, so it shouldn't be installing it, because I'm not installing peer dependencies. Term 2. React. Why does it install React in here? Cd node modules and then ls react. Oh, yeah. Why does it keep installing that? It shouldn't. No, don't close that tab. Because I've listed it as a peer dependency, which means that it's not required. That's why I think of it. I'm just going to add the types, which is build/index.d.ps. And we go rm-rf on react rm and term 1, and we'll do the ls on that. Actually, npm I. Is it when I do the install here, that's what's actually forcing the... Yeah, that might be it. And then npm ls of react. Yeah, term now ls react. Yeah, okay, so it's that npm install that's doing it. Okay. Oh, I remember this from when I was setting up this project. What did I do on here? So we would dependency. There was something I had to do. I wish I could remember what it was. Rage. So we run install, we run build. I thought that it needed to, like, I thought I RM'd a different thing. You know what? We're gonna just go back here. I want to git clone react foldable to temp /temp/ code /temp rf dot slash then till slash yeah, it does. Oh, how do I do it now? Okay, no, I'm just gonna, I don't want to bust this one up. CP react foldable to code temp rf. Oops. IR. Just because that one's working, I don't want to break it. I want to see what happens on these on a clean set of install steps. Okay, so we'll go to temp rf, and then we're going to examples, and we will remove the node modules folder, and then we'll go to the React foldables, and we'll do that same rm. Now this goes npm run npm install. So just kind of copying through what the build process does. So it does an npm install. Okay. So we have an unmet peer dependency, which is fine. Oops. Then we want to go back down. So you do npm run build to do that. And then we'll go down to example. Do npm run npm install, which will then use the file path reference to bring it in. So the warning tells me that I don't have the pure dependency there installed. So yeah, you kind of got to manage it yourself. But when we've been running it in the new project, it keeps installing React into that one where there is the peer dependency, which it shouldn't do. So now if we do npm ls react, see what does it, okay, it detects one. cd to react foldable node modules, and then ls la pipe react. Okay, so it didn't install. There's nothing worse than something just like it. Oh no, I reckon I know what it's going to be. Probably this package lock file up here. React. There it is. It is twice. Okay, yep. So that one is going to be, I think that is the nesting under, yeah. So what it's done, when I did the initial install, it added to the package lock file the information about how to install the dependencies required for my custom module. And one of them, if we just kind of collapse down, not that far in the dependencies, we just keep collapsing these. We will, there's a shortcut key for collapsing, I'm pretty sure. Collapse. No. Fold. What is it? Fold. Yeah. Actually. Yeah, let's just fold dependencies. And then if we expand it out, does it keep? Damn it. Fold all. And then we will go expand to 6. Expand. We're going to expand dependencies. And if we scroll down a bit of the ways on this, we will find, here we go, P, Q, R, React. There it is. So this package lock file is busted basically. So let's delete it. And then we'll do cd /. Wait, what am I on? I'm terminal 2. / p term 1 npm. Then we'll do rm rf on node modules, and then we'll do an npm install, which should then regenerate my package lock file, which will no longer have the React dependency that was that's in the plugin that we're building, or the component library that we're building. Okay, fingers crossed. Oh, there we go. Done. And then we do an npm ls react. We should only find one dependency. No, we didn't. It's React. Wait, no, it's not in there. So it did still add it? Damn it. Fold all. PQRS. Damn it. It still added it. I mean, we can do that. That works. It's probably not the right thing to do because it hasn't fixed the fundamental problem. Probably because it found it. Yeah, it's diff. So wait. Yep. So the example package lock doesn't require React. Yeah. Commit hacking lock files. Okay, well, that's fired up. That'll kick off a build, and I will be back in just a moment. Alrighty, it looks like our build is nearly completed. As my head slowly returns to the fold. Here we go. Build web app is running. And there's nothing like runtime JavaScript errors to make things fun, because we can't actually see what happens until we deploy this application. Oh, actually, yeah, I can test out here if I was running the website, which I'm currently not. npm start, and on term 2 we'll do npm run watch. I don't need yet another one. We'll start this up. Hey, looks like things are still blowing up. It's still finding multiple versions of React. How is it still finding multiple versions of React? Didn't I delete them? 3 npm ls react. Or did I forget to do, like, I've worked out that, no, I worked out that it should only have one there, which, yeah, and then, okay, so now I'm actually using the hook wrong, maybe. Well, I mean, this is, no, it's just, I'm going to call local dev fail for some reason. Yay, the user is signed in. Well, the user is not signed in, which is what we expect. Let's go through a auth flow and see if we get back something more useful. Grant consent. User is not signed in. Interesting. Did we fetch me? We did. Because let's have a look at the component. So, context provider. It is one level deeper than it's got this client principal. I should be assigning the client principal. So, easy fix there. Where is my context? Where is my context? And that will actually be user info. Should user actually, well, let's just check what our docs say about that. So we will get back a client principal data. I wonder if there's anything else that on the me endpoint that you should really care about. So it's the client principal that that you unpack, and that's what you should be setting somewhere. But I wonder if you should be worrying about any of the other things. Possibly not. I mean, I don't think we actually get anything else back there. Let's have a look at the network request. Yeah, it's client principal. I mean, maybe it's just like that for future potential placeholder. And then, so instead we are going to be, that will be a client principal, which is the user info. And then the JSON will be a client principal. So we will pass that through. Done. Git status. And unpacking. Wow. Just quickly. It was, I make sure I spell it correctly. Git status. Git commit. Unpacking the response properly. And we'll now make hashtag code compiling again. What's the build pipeline take? Like, how long is it? It's taking about just over 2 minutes. That's not too bad. This should work now. Or is it because no. Weird that it works locally but not deployed. Oh, sorry, it works deployed but not locally. I need to have a look into that in more detail. Because it's, well, the same code. Unless... Let's go term 2. kill that. rm npm run build term 1 npm start. Let's just restart the server. Might not be compiling properly. Maybe it's just, yeah, not compiled with the updated code base. No, index app tsx. User is not signed in, and then we'll do a frowny face. We'll see if that forces it. No. No. I'll keep digging into working out why local dev doesn't work, but we don't need local dev. We can just deploy to production and, you know, test it there. Test in production. Is there any better way to go? Come on. Okay, we're at final few seconds. There we go. Deployment is completed. Let's reload our application. Now, ta-da, we are still logged in. Isn't that awesome? So we now have a component that when we log in, it will tell us some useful information. Fantastic. That, the identity provider, the user details, the user ID, and the roles. So I'm currently assigned anonymous authentication because everyone gets anonymous initially. But then when you're authenticated, you get authenticated. You can then provide additional roles if you want. Let's have a look. What is the default value that we'll get back from there? Identity provider of null network. So let's just, it's fresh. So me will come back as, okay, so it comes back as null. So we need to check if it's not null. Yeah, we don't want to assign null in that space. We want to leave it as an empty value. I think, whoops. Admittedly, the reason that's like, it's blowing up is because my code isn't dealing with the fact that there is a null in there. So that's not like end of the day like problematic really. But I think there's better expectation that you never have a null value for there. So it would be smarter if we go, yeah, like if JSON.client principal, then we'll set the client principal because that could be client principal or null. So it's either going to be user info or null. That exists. So there it is, a user info. Because then you have a default value, which is like you'll have something there. You'll have nothing available on the user identity, but you won't have the user identity actually being null. 3, adding a null check. So we'll push that up. And I guess kind of like the only thing left to do would be to create some other workflows to just like do build and deploy. So I'm going to do a build YAML. So I'm going to grab my workflow files that I've got here. So I've set up like some basic build and release workflow files. So we'll grab this one. And then we'll do new file and then publish release.yaml. Because I think that's what the other one is called. npm publish. Consistent. Rename. npm publish. This will run when we cut a version. So these two workflow files, let's just have a look at the build one. Don't have a YAML highlighter? YAML. Syntax. What's the YAML extension? I was sure that I have the YAML one. Yeah. It's not running. KM auto detect. KM YAML. Who knows what's going on there. So this workflow file, when we push, React foldable. Let's just change anywhere it says foldable to static web apps auth. And then we're going to need to do that in here. Let's go foldable, static web apps auth. Okay. So basically what it does is it's going to run on a matrix. And we'll write tests at some point for these. It will run npm CI, so it'll install the packages. It will then lint and build. It will then generate an npm package, but it's going to, so like every push against the master branch or pull request against the master branch will result in a package being generated using the version ID, pre-release ID of CI dash and then the number of the GitHub run. So you can grab that package, you can install it and test it locally. And then I just push that as a artifact of the build. And then if it was run by me, then it will actually upload it to my GitHub packages. So you can then install it there as well. Release is the same thing, but it also publishes to NPM and creates a GitHub release, but that's triggered on version tags, which we don't have at the minute. Add, commit, more workflows for DevOps, and we'll push those up. And I might wrap that up today. It's getting the end of the day. It's getting warm in this room, and I've got to go pick up the kids from daycare shortly. But yeah, there we go. We've made a good headway into building a little React component that can make it easier for us to work with static web apps. So yes, I do have air conditioning in the car. I could go sit in that. I have air conditioning at home. I just don't have it running because, well, up until I started streaming, I had the door open to the office and I was getting a nice bit of a breeze in from the front door. But you know, I've made my decisions and I have to live with them. Let's have a look at our build pipelines. There we go. Look at that, more DevOpsies. There we go. So that's built across a bunch of Ubuntu instances. I'll walk to daycare to pick the kids up. My wife's out with the car. She might meet me there and then we'll drive them home. It's an excuse to put on shoes for like the first time since I went for a run this morning. Oh, it failed. Upload to GitHub packages. React static web apps auth. My package JSON. That should be at Aaron Powell / got to put that in there correctly. Forgot to scope the package JSON, and we'll push that up. So that's gonna trigger off another build. What was this one? The overall summary of this one was that it took a minute to fail. That's right. Yeah. Then what you'll see is packages appear here. I'll write a README file at some point. I think I'm going to delete create React app and just do it without create React app because it's so much just getting in my way. Yeah. Okay, it's this one here. Oh, and let's check private mode. There we go. Now that we've deployed that. Excellent. The user is not signed in because we got back the null data. But if we have a look at the components, we'll see that the context is that the identity provider has no values in it, which is what we like. For me, I think that's a better way. It should represent like this is where values could be. Currently, they're undefined. or that you don't have any roles. I think actually you might have, like, you could technically have the anonymous role provided, like, set there, because, well, you are anonymous. Yeah. But we're not doing that just in a minute. Okay, so package is done. We're publishing to GitHub Actions. Wonder how long this is going to add to the pipeline. Shouldn't take long. Come on, Actions. One last win for the day. Starting your workflow. There we go. Okay. Let's go to upload. Oh. Download artifact. Because it's called upload, not download. So it downloads the artifact from the previous step. Sets up node, sets the registry target, and then I use ls to find the package name, because I don't actually know what the package name and version number is going to be. And then we do an npm publish. So now if we come to the component, ta-da, it's here. We could do, you could do an npm install from there. Excellent. All good. All right, I'm going to sign off for the day. I hope you enjoyed having a look at how we can quickly build out some npm and build out a React package, get that up and running. And yes, I will enjoy the swim through the 90% humidity to get to daycare. If I don't speak to you before the new year, Mitch, have a good one. And I will catch you next year sometime, maybe even in person at an event. That would be crazy. All right, take care, folks. See you next time.